Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Laura Prada from the Telesur Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin began talks this Thursday afternoon at the Russian city of Vladivostok. The North Korean leader and the Russian president meeting raises expectations as some of the topics on the table are related to nuclear issues regarding the Korean peninsula, Russia's leading role in encouraging North Korea to give up its nuclear program, and sanctions U.S. imposes to the Asiatic nation. On their first statement to the press, they refers to the historic relations between the two countries since the Soviet era. On their greeting at the start of this historic summit, Putin said Russia would like to help support efforts to resolve the North Korean nuclear standoff and that his country supports Kim's efforts to normalize North Korea's relation with the United States, and added that these talks should help better understand what Russia could do to support negotiations. Kim Jong-un said that Vladimir Putin will help jointly assess the Korean Peninsula issues and coordinate their stance. Multilateralism and diplomacy for peace member the General Assembly to commemorate the day, which was initiated by Venezuela through the non-aligned movement. The date aims to realize the principle of resolving disputes through peaceful means and diplomacy. To have better idea of what happened at New York, we have the following report of our correspondent Karina Cartagena.
El canciller Jorge Arreaza también tomó la palabra en
The Venezuelan Foreign Minister Jorge Arreaza participated in the meeting of the General Assembly to commemorate the International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace. The importance of respecting international law and charter. Arreaza also said that unilateralism is currently threatening the security of many countries, to promote multilateralism, to defend and respect the principles of the UN, such as peace, international law, human rights, and sustainable development. Jorge Arreaza also spoke on behalf of his country, saying that Venezuela believes in a world where all are equal and that the UN should not become a best friends club. All member states can be represented. Also pointed to a lack of respect for multilateralism, stressing statements made by the U.S. in the Assembly in September 2018 to impose sanctions. He also said that U.S. State Secretary Mike Pompeo called other countries so they would not recognize the Venezuelan government in the Security Council. That the U.S. cannot continue imposing why this meeting is respecting international law and multilateralism. Before the meeting, the Venezuelan foreign minister met with the UN Secretary General on about the political situation in Venezuela. The President of the Assembly, Maria Fernanda Espinosa, also called on countries to combat global challenges in a collective such as Russia, Cuba and Mexico are also participating in the meeting, which will.
Thank you, Karina. And indigenous communities are protesting in the Brazilian capital against the president's policies. Indigenous people set up area where the main is located. They are demanding respect for their rights and for their territories. The government orders security forces to reinforce security in the area, despite the fact communities are demonstrating peacefully.
We are not going to accept this because the government is practically injuring the Brazilian Constitution, which gives guarantees to indigenous people and for the demarcation of indigenous lands.
We are here for our right to defend, to speak, to complain. So that's the problems with us. With the indigenous population, don't go on.
To know and to understand these protests about, we have the following report from our correspondent in Brazil, Danay Galetti. Welcome.
We're here at the headquarters of Brazil's government, where indigenous people, more than 5,000 leaders, are expected to join the protests in representation of over 800,000 indigenous people. Last week, Minister of Justice Sergio Moro authorized security forces to act where indigenous people have already planned to demonstrate from the 24th to the 26th of April. Indigenous communities say that their demonstration is peaceful and that they set up the camp to defend the rights of their communities, especially to defend their rights, which are in danger since Jair Bolsonaro took office and began to attack the rights of the indigenous people. Rights that are protected by the Constitution, including the right to own lands.
And the protests have been fueled by the Amazon land, which is at risk to their territories. That these illegal groups have taken the lead due to Bolsonaro's policies against the environment. They demand urgent solutions.
We want the government to do because they're wilderness.
I am a chief. I will die if you kill my land, but I will fight for my people.
Protesters are demanding justice for 14 people fatally shot during a family celebration in motives, and social organizations are the streets in a march for peace. They're calling on the authorities to conduct a speedy investigation. A baby boy was among the 14 killed on April 19th when gunmen stormed an event hall and opened fire. And Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador says his country will not be provoked by the U.S. President's accusations that Mexican soldiers confronted U.S. Border Patrol agents last week. Trump tweeted that Mexican soldiers pulled guns on the U.S. soldiers, calling it a possible diversionary tactic for drug smugglers on the border. Vote to look into the alleged border incident.
Government. We will important things is to tell him we'll fight with the U.S. government.
A United States, the deal of the says will solve and doesn't take it into account. To understand and to know more about this, we have the following.
This is the Palestinian struggle, paving the way to also this deal. This division will have this agreement. The Palestinian cause.
And that is implementation for this agreement.
For its refugees are among who
affected communities where rescue operations are under. Natal. In the affected area. In Chatsworth, where 7 members died because of the flood damage. Ramaphosa led a wreath and offered condolences to the South Africa. Matua Malaji sent us the following report. Let's see it.
Ramaphosa has just come to the AU summit in Egypt, and his first KwaZulu-Natal hardest hit people who died, at least on now, but he would be extent of damage caused torrential rains that have actually been going on around the country, but KwaZulu-Natal province the hardest hit, and now the reports, and we know now from this disaster found, and the rain stopping, and now we understand that will also be metro municipality to deal with disasters like this one, and that's one of the things that the president is looking into, assessing damage cost.
To the polls, economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema will win the elections. Malema, who is currently on a country-wide the people who put them in power 94.
% plus into a boxing ring. All the research shows that this party is going to shock a lot of people.
And that whichever party wins the election to the country's high unemployment, the fall of upper heads for many young to create jobs every year. Statistics show that more than 50%
it's like you go to school, but then you contribution, but it's like
armed confrontation are initiated from outside. He argued that the U.S. was the source of the problem, citing Yemen, Libya. Like this, we go to a second break, a very short break, hearing from the South. We'll be right back. Has tried to take a gun from a soldier's body to get rid of the evidence in the country. 3 days. Let's find
the situation.
Some family members of victims of the landslide. The landslide swept away 8 houses and killed at least 33 people last Sunday. Initiative of President penalizing the student movement and
from their homes and forced to spend the night in a police station.
All the demands.
According to President Sebastian Pinera, the Safe Classroom law is supposed to reduce violence. The law expels students and to arrest the students who fight for better
who are being expelled from their schools. They are not receiving the right to an education just because the principal wants to expel any student who is protesting to gain rights for everyone.
Students are being arrested, handcuffed, controlled and attacked.
We are seeing that there is not an education system, but a judicial one for the children.
I think there's a political purpose here. Principals are not running a school but a military center. Students are facing an atmosphere of harassment and political persecution that we are not going to accept. As a counselor, I won't accept it. Neither will parents or guardians.
Through years of mobilizations, students could give the Chilean people back their universal right to education.
And Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the government needs to improve the economic and social environment in order to encourage members of the diaspora to return to the country.
For many years, we have relied on the remittances of the diaspora. It helps many households. That's how many children go to school. That's how groceries are bought for the house. Enough for the economic prosperity that we seek. What really needs to happen is for the government to create the economic and social environment to find your way back and feel assured that if you were to make the decision to come back to Jamaica, that you would not be sacrificing a quality of life that you have attained here.
We continue. Prime Minister Gaston Brown will be joined by the President of the United Nations General Assembly, Maria Fernanda Espinosa, for the Played Out concert in Antigua next week. The lineup includes regional and internationally renowned artists and will highlight efforts to tackle the problem globally. Antigua was the first country in the Caribbean to introduce plastic ban. With this call to protect our environment, we come to the end of this report, but you can find this and much more stories on our website, terrestrialenglish.net, where of course you can read opinion articles and watch special interviews. Continue with Telesur, connecting the global thousands. Until next time, thank you for watching.